back to the Vegan Society Podcast. My name is Andy Davidson and I am not alone. If only a young Andy could see me now. I'm here with two busy bees who have been flying from campaign to campaign. It's magazine editor and campaign contributor Elena.
Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. I've had a really good time going to lots of festivals recently with our Place Up for the Planet campaign, which we'll be chatting about later.
That's fantastic. And we've also got finance officer and campaign contributor and first time podcast, Alan. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good.
You've also been plating up for the planet?
I have indeed. We went to Camp Festival over the weekend and it was amazing. It was brilliant.
And soggy.
And soggy.
That's the UK for you. Shall we get into the news? Because it's been a really, really exciting month. Firstly, vegan campaigners are free to brand British milk production as inhumane after a ruling by the advertising regulator.
I thought it was interesting, the reaction to it, that it got so much traction from 7 complaints. I find that amazing that that's all it really takes. And you think some of the stuff we're trying to get involved and we get hundreds of people and there's no traction, but apparently you could have 7 people complain.
Yeah, and we did talk about this on the last podcast, but what's happened since then, and we're talking about Go Vegan World obviously and their campaign against dairy milk and how the farming community, national farmers unions try to shut them down essentially, and they've been unsuccessful in that. And what's amazing since we talked about it last is the traction it's got in the media, and seeing it on the front page of the Times. It's a massive win for the vegan campaign, and it's gone all over the news and all over the radio, and we've had a lot of requests to talk about it. That's what's really exciting about it.
How they determined the truth, it was kind of shocking. You know, they said, oh, look, you know, if you base it on, there's got to be a window of 12 to 24 hours for the calf to be with its mother, and then that's fine to kind of take them away. That was kind of, I didn't realise it was so kind of specified.
Yeah, it is really bizarre because there are people on both sides of the fence with this, really. Obviously, just separating any calf from its mother is horrible and inhumane, but there are people who say that it's worse if you leave the calf with the mother for longer because they form more of a bond and it's more traumatic when you eventually separate them. So yeah, and it's really showing, I think it's showing chinks in the armour of the dairy industry, really, because the more people look into it, the more people delve into it, the more they'll see this doesn't make any sense. It's not a product that we need, and it can't be produced in any way other than a cruel way. And we saw that someone from the National Farmers Union responded to it and said, actually, cows are not that maternal, so it's presumably okay to separate a calf from its mother, which is just ridiculous. And anyone who reads that will realise cows are mammals just like us, so it's natural and logical that they'll have a really strong bond with their young and want to protect them and look after them.
And my vegan tip last month was about it only takes a few people to complain about these adverts and it has a massive effect, and it's something you can do from your own home, and so that's open for everyone to get involved with. And that's linked now to a new advert brought out by KFC, which shows a healthy chicken strutting around. It's big, it's healthy, it looks happy, and KFC are using that chicken to sell what is in fact a really disgusting and inhumane product. And there's a really great article I saw on marketingweek.com. It was written by Mark Ritson, and he suggests that KFC putting the C in KFC is an advertising error. The advert is the first from KFC's new marketing agency. And from a vegan perspective, they clearly misrepresent the health of the chickens. It's the adverts, as I described, it shows a really healthy chicken, but in fact, as Mark is quoted in the article, he says, as the BBC's 2015 $1 billion chicken shop documentary revealed, KFC birds never see Earth. Instead, they spend their 42 days on sawdust inside giant buildings with 30,000 other birds and never set foot outside. But from a meat eater's perspective, they don't like seeing live animals. And secondly, most people are aware that the reality for KFC chickens isn't like this. So they don't want to be reminded of that in the advert. So are we now open to complain about this advert because it's so far away from their reality and get this one shut down as well? Or are they just shooting themselves in the foot by showing chickens and linking that to the meat people are eating?
Either way, I don't think it's gone down particularly well for them because, like you say, people who eat meat, people who eat animals don't want to think of what they're eating as an animal that was once alive and has had a horrific death. So when people buy these kind of products, I think people like the kind of products that KFC sell because they look nothing like animals. And this advert has just linked those two things together.
I'm interested to see what the long-term kind of reaction is to this, and if it kind of means that people start thinking a little bit more about what they're eating and kind of why they're eating it.
We produced a survey of 2,000 UK adults, and it's shown that only 20% realise the impact animal agriculture has on the environment. Further results show that only 8% realise that livestock production results in the extinction of other species, and 12% only realise that it causes destruction of the rainforest.
Well, I think this is really interesting for us, and it really backs up the reason why we've just launched our campaign, which we're doing over the summer, Plate Up for the Planet, because what we really wanted to do was we wanted to speak to people who are environmentally minded, so the kind of people who maybe take public transport, try not to go on too many long-haul flights, people who use energy-efficient light bulbs and that kind of thing, and show them that while them doing all of these things is great, people are actually unaware that going vegan is one of the very best things you can do if you're concerned about the environment.
When I saw it, I wasn't surprised. Not that I've got like some kind of doubt in the way people kind of perceive things or believe things to be true. But certainly from my experience, when I was kind of going to school and going to college and all that, those things were never really talked about. No one ever kind of says, well, this is how your food is made and this is what the consequences of that are. I certainly knew more about the impacts of the textiles industry on the environment. So I knew that way before I ever knew about the impact of the food industry on the environment. So it's not surprising that, the numbers are the way they are. When we were kind of doing the Plate Up launch, a lot of people were coming up and going, well, I kind of had an idea, but I didn't really understand it fully. So clearly people are thinking about it to an extent, and I think a lot of these climate messages that have been going out over the last few years are starting to kind of carry weight with people. And
I think we need bigger organisations and they're starting to do it. Greenpeace and WWF are starting to put these facts around how 95% of soybeans goes to animal feed and that destroys the environment. But people are on board to stop climate change. I mean, we can see that in our stats. 65% of people take reusable bags to the supermarket, 78% recycle, 49% use eco bulbs, 54% of people turn off the taps when brushing their teeth. So people are on board to stop climate change. They just don't realise that what they're doing pales into insignificance compared to what they can do if they change their diet. And that's where Plate Up the Planet is so important, because if you go to vegansociety.com/plateup, you can actually see the impact people are having when they're signing up. We've got a calculator and it shows how many washing up cycles and eco bulbs are saved by just people changing their diet. And it's insane. It's massive numbers. It's incredible. So what you can do by changing your diet is incredibly huge. So just getting that message out is so important. And I think people will really get on board with it quickly. So go to vegansociety.com/plateup. and share all our social media links. You can share the facts on Twitter and Facebook and get your friends to sign up, because I think it's a 7-day vegan challenge. 7 days can be done by virtually everyone. It's really simple to do. We'll give you lots of tips and recipes. So it's up to you really. Share it far and wide, and we will change people's diet for the benefit of the world. I've got a question for the both of you and for the listeners. Is veganism now mainstream?
I think that can be a hard question for us to answer sometimes, because we're right in it. Like, I'm in such a vegan bubble. I work with vegans. I live with a vegan. Like, loads of my friends, my family are vegans. I'm very, very lucky in that way. So for us, the people who are looking out for the positive changes, because we like to see an impact in what we're doing and we like to keep ourselves chipper, so to speak. We're always looking for reasons to think that we are in the mainstream now. But I think, go to plenty of people around the world and ask them, do you think vegan is mainstream? You get a completely different answer.
You look at just the way the supermarkets in the UK are kind of fighting for vegan business at the moment. To me, it feels like it's definitely heading towards the mainstream, if it's not on the periphery of mainstream.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'd say. There are things that we're seeing all the time which are taking us in huge leaps and bounds forwards, and that's really positive and really great to see. But I think I'd be hesitant to say that we're in the mainstream yet. I think we're heading there.
I used to say to people about 4 years ago that veganism was where vegetarianism was 15 years prior. But I think we have just, the last 3 to 4 years, we have, like, the movement has moved so fast and so rapidly. There's certainly the reactions to veganism that I've seen, and again, this is my perspective on it, so it's very biased, is the reactions are less of the, well, that's extreme, or aren't you worried about this, or aren't you worried about that? Partially, I think, because thanks to the internet, we've got a lot more information out there to kind of dispel any myths and kind of weird arguments. But I think it's just people are understanding the reasons a lot more now, and I think that is helping it move closer and closer to the mainstream.
Yeah, and I think that the people who you speak to about veganism now, whereas maybe a few years ago they might have said, oh, aren't you worried about this or that? I think now they're much more likely to say, oh, my daughter's teacher's vegan, or like, oh, my friend's brother's vegan, or like everyone, it's like 6 degrees of separation,
yeah,
but a lot less.
That's it. There's all, and particularly that was highlighted this weekend while we were at Camp Festival. A lot of people that were coming up to take the pledge, they were like, oh yeah, so-and-so's vegan and they seem to be enjoying it. I'll have a go.
They seem normal.
And well, that's it. And I think like I've seen so many people react to the fact that, say, Travis Barker and
Serena
Williams, and you know, there's these people who are in the spotlight who are really, really publicly advocating for veganism and animal rights. And they're like, well, wait, they look really good. They're really healthy. They're winning all these awards. They're winning these trophies. They're doing what? So that's it.
Welcome to veganism.
When he's going around saying to people, you can be completely healthy and be vegan.
Do the voice.
Oh no, I'm not going to do it. I'm terrible at it. He's just there going, come on, do it.
Do it.
But did you see the thing he was doing with James Cameron on global climate change? Like saying, eat less meat is better for you, you know, and
I love it.
When he's recognising it, you've got to think there's a whole bunch of like muscle-bound dudes in the gym, and I've seen it in my gym, you know, people with plant-based proteins instead of whey stuff, and you hear them going, yeah, get rid of that whey stuff, that's ridiculous, it's just terrible for you. Just arguing the merits of pea protein over hemp protein, and I'm like, wait, what? And it's
hemp.
There was some guy, it's like, no, don't get rid of that soy stuff, try this one, and they're like talking about brands and things, and I'm like, wait.
When you feel comfortable, you can get a vegan option in it. Wherever you go, that's when it's mainstream, I think. So I interviewed Alex Hershaft, who is the founder of Farm and is a Holocaust survivor who first person to compare meat eating to the Holocaust. Obviously a controversial thing to say, but he's had many years of activism and done amazing things and has a really good story to tell. So here's my interview with Alex. Alex Hershaft, welcome to the Vegan Society Podcast.
Oh, you're very welcome. Glad to be with you.
First question is regarding your organisation Farm, which stands for Farm Animal Rights Movement. It seems to be going from strength to strength. How would you rate the work you're doing currently? And what success stories can you tell us about?
Yeah, so we're pretty unique in the United States in that we're the only organization that's faithful to the abolitionist tradition. People who inquire about us are never left in doubt that we are after a vegan world. As far as our greatest success is concerned, it has to be the annual Animal Rights Conference, where we bring together the entire animal rights and vegan movement in the United States under one roof once a year for 4 days. And we have 80 sessions with 155 speakers. About 90 organizations are represented. And we have sessions dealing with presentation of the issues with personal organizing, with group organizing, with advocacy, and also some debates, some discussions about current issues, and lots of opportunities for networking. And we also have exhibits by vegan vendors and excellent food.
So, viewers may not know that you're a survivor of the Holocaust and famously compared animal agriculture to the Holocaust. Looking back now, what effect do you think that comparison has had?
On the general public, pretty nil. For opposite reasons. So in Europe, particularly Germany, Poland, Austria, the subject is considered too sensitive and they won't let me speak on it. In other words, we can't get any kind of a reputable organization to sponsor my presentation. 2015, I visited Israel. I spoke at 4 universities there, and there I got a very good reception because the young people who are, of course, the university students have seen the analogy and have made this argument to their parents and grandparents and were dismissed. So they were very eager to get somebody of their grandparents' generation to come and support their point of view. Mind you, some people look at this in a very simplistic manner that I'm comparing the Holocaust to what we're doing to animals raised for food, and the comparison is a very limited one. It's only applies to the common mindset of the oppressor. It certainly does not mean any kind of comparison between the value, the moral value, or the personal value we hold to the victims. Obviously, I'm much more shocked and traumatized by what happened to my people in Poland, and particularly my family, than I am about what happens to pigs in the slaughterhouse. But in the moral universe, each life holds equal value to the holder of that life, and so my thesis is that as long as we focus on the victims and what I call the culture of victimhood, we will never solve the problems of oppression. My suggestion is that all victims and other people of good faith should unite and work together to prevent oppression and the oppressive mindset.
What's your opinion on the profit motive being a big part of animal agriculture where it wasn't in terms of the Holocaust?
Well, I don't know that profit plays a role here. I mean, there are so many ways to make a profit. It's not about profit, really. It's about the willingness to abuse a vulnerable, a defenseless segment of your society.
So where do you think vegan activism is going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Sure. So there'll be a few of us at farm and hopefully more, who will continue to produce vegans through our 6-7 programs. But most of the movement is basically going towards reforming the food system by working on supply, distribution, and demand. Supply, of course, being supporting the inventors and manufacturers of plant-based counterparts to animal meat and fish and dairy and eggs. The distribution being working with food services, with the manufacturers of food processors to use fewer animal ingredients, working with institutional cafeterias, working with the restaurants and so forth, and with grocery stores to make these foods more reachable, more seeable, more available. And then finally the demand side, which is programs like Meatless Monday and including reduced meat consumption in the dietary guidelines, and healthy school lunches, and promoting vegan celebrities, and things that basically get society to accept more easily plant-based foods.
Where can our listeners go to find more information about Farm?
We have a website, of course, which we're still working on, unfortunately. Well, in other words, we've gone through a bunch of transformations, but the latest transformation is still a work in progress. But it's farmusa.org.
That's great. Alex, thank you so much for joining us.
Sure, it's my pleasure. Thank you for calling.
Now on to vegan tips. So they say there's an app for everything. So I'm going to take you through the mobile apps that will help new vegans and those lovely established vegans. So the absolute necessity is Happy Cow.
Yes.
For finding places to eat out. They don't list chains though, so have a look at our blog, which is all about the vegan menus at chains around the country, specifically for UK, but we've got some overseas on there as well. But Happy Cow is worldwide, so make sure you download Happy Cow. Our own vegan passport app will help you when traveling in terms of translation. And there's a new app called Vegan Amino. That's AMINO. This app connects you to a community of other vegans. You can create a profile and chat with others who share your diet. I think this app will be really huge. You can share recipes and you get a rating as well if you share really good stuff. There's an app called Vegan Alternatives. This one's a great one for newbies, as it does exactly what it says, provides you alternatives to those meat products. Oshi Glows is an app from that famous recipe blog. Great recipes you can download to your phone. And finally, Vegan Wines, which is very much like barneyboard.com. You can search for your beers, your lagers, your wines, and find out if they're vegan. So get on those.
My tip is that I went for a really nice day out in Nottingham a week or so ago, and it turns out that it's actually quite a cute little vegan hub. There's quite a lot of vegan stuff going on there. I hadn't been there before, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I went to the Peacock in Nottingham. That was really nice. And then I went and got myself some donuts in Donuts, because they have some vegan ones that they do there.
Really?
And I also found, this isn't something that everyone can get when they go to Nottingham, but I found myself some vegan Doc Martens in a charity shop and nearly cried with happiness.
We should start a Vegan City Award on the podcast if you think your city's better for vegan, or town or village.
Or house.
Okay.
What do you do?
Back garden.
It's like Glasgow, Nottingham and London and Manchester all fighting it out.
Bristol, Brighton.
Bristol.
I don't know, I think there could be something said for like little known vegan hotspots. Like everyone knows that London's great for vegans.
Yeah, it's
obviously.
proportion, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
London might have several, but it's huge.
Yeah,
you still have to travel 20 minutes.
I'd definitely be into submissions from people telling me like places that I don't already know about.
Imagine if you had one in your village, like it's by your house, like 5-minute walk or something. It'd be amazing. Like
Yeah.
a little cafe which was vegan. If you do, I mean, email in podcast@vegansociety.com. Let us know what your local village, city, town's like. Alan.
Vegan tips.
You've apparently got tips for days.
I have got tips for days, but and I'm going to go with just the one that I think is the most present and important one to me personally, is stop being terrible to other vegans on the internet.
That's a good tip.
You've got to. We are trying so hard to get people to take us seriously as an organisation and as individuals, and it really it's sort of painful to see it happen on vegan pages where there's new vegans that maybe make a mistake or they accidentally mention something that might offend someone else, and by offending, it's like they've mentioned that they could get a vegan thing in McDonald's and someone said don't talk about McDonald's and really gone in and just all out attacked them. And I think there's better ways to talk about things, there's better ways to kind of have discussions, and not only are you having a better interaction with an individual, there are other people that are kind of just witnessing this stuff. And I've definitely seeing people react badly to it and go, if that's what vegans are like, why do I want to be involved? We've got to be compassionate to each other and try to just accept that people are in different parts of the journey and just try and help them along.
So, I mean, also take what's on the internet with a pinch of salt, because you don't know who it is. It could be anyone. It could be someone in a basement in halfway around the world, a 10-year-old or something. Just, if you go on the internet, you've got to be a little, more casual and just take it with a pinch of salt and not assume every comment represents the vegan movement. So it definitely goes both ways. But yeah, be nice. Be nice. Be nice like us. Off topic. Who's got an off topic?
My off topic is sort of on topic. Is that allowed?
It is on this show. It's very nice people.
So my off topic is I wanted to have a little mini rant because I've been sent a book called The Ethical Carnivore, My Year Killing to Eat. This is the second time I've been sent this book. I've been sent the hardback copy and the paperback copy. And yeah, it's basically about someone. Basically, I agree a lot with the premise this person is saying. We all need to eat fewer animal products. We should all know where our food is coming from. So I agree with that. But the route they've taken is saying, well, you shouldn't eat an animal unless you're prepared to kill the animal yourself. And that is what the book about. It's about someone over the course of a year learning how to hunt and fish and all these things. And so yeah, it's actually, I mean, I've not read the whole thing because I have other things which I would like to spend my time doing. But yeah, I've sort of sneaked into the back of the book and had a look at the conclusion that this person comes to, which is just a bit ridiculous, really. This person is saying, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could live in a perfect vegan world, but life isn't perfect, and so I'm going to eat that squirrel over there. I obviously think it's awful that people will eat meat without knowing where it comes from, but the fact that this person has gone out there and they've got up close and personal with an animal in its natural habitat that's, alive and thriving, and they're perfectly willing to kill it, and they think that makes it justified. And it says on the cover of the book, I've just noticed, The Guardian has called this book charming, which is so grim.
Charming death.
So I just wanted to say, please stop sending me books about killing animals. Thanks.
They got a nice mention on the podcast. You can buy this book at.
No, you can't. You can't get it anywhere.
No.
You can burn this book at.
I don't know that I have an off-topic specifically, but one of the things that I learned from this past weekend is that festivals are getting good at vegan food.
It's very true. I mean, we had too much choice at festivals, didn't we?
We literally didn't. None of us could get through all of the things, and we thought when there was so much, just for the fact there was people that had a thing on their menu, and there were some places that. Do you remember we tried to? There was a place that was advertising it had vegan cheese for their pizzas.
Oh, and they ran out.
They had been so popular they ran out.
Yeah. What was the best thing you ate over the weekend?
Oh crikey! I mean, there was a place that was doing veggie chili in a bread. They'd taken a loaf of bread, pulled the inside out, and put chili in it, and then they took the inside of the bread, kind of put it in garlic oil and baked it to make garlic bread.
That's amazing.
And then they put hummus on the chili, and I didn't know that hummus and chili was a thing until this weekend. It was amazing. So that was pretty good, but that's more like comfort food. It's definitely working.
My off topic is about a new crowdfunder from vegan chef Day Radley.
Woo! We love Day. We've done some work with Day in the past, and she's great.
Big friend of ours and a friend of yours, because Day is raising money to start a vegan cookery show that she wants to get commissioned on TV, and she needs to raise £4,000 to make a pilot with professional people. So as I'm looking at it now, they're hitting £2,000. So let's get Day to £4,000. All you have to do is go to chuffed.org. That's CHUFFED.org, and if you search for Just Good Food, the vegan cooking show, it should appear. But what we'll do, we'll link in the podcast description so you can click directly to it and donate, or just share it around.
That's it. If everyone that listens to this podcast threw a tenner in,
I've got more listeners than that.
Too much money.
I've got more listeners than that.
No, I'm just saying, but if you just throw a tenner,
we've got my mum, we've got Andy's mum.
That's it.
Bye.
That's it for the show. So yeah, support the Vegan Society. Why not join us at vegansociety.com/join? Contact us at podcast@vegansociety.com and we'll read out your question next month. Although the podcast may be late next month, I'm having a baby, and so I might not be able to edit the podcast until then. And the baby is overweight. It's not born yet, but he's overweight, so we're having it early. So all those myths about vegans already being destroyed by my daughter, and it's great to see. So next time, hopefully in September some point, we'll be back with you. So it's goodbye from Elena.
Bye.
Alan.
See you in a bit.
And Andy. Goodbye. Take care.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I went to the pub, the Phoenix, Phoenix
sounds about right, but it's been a while
Peacock.
Something beginning with a P.
Right,
I might have wings.